Hello, Mr. Obama. I'm just a person. You've never heard of me. I go by Artifacts of Mars on the internet. I wanted to address you about some issues that are vitally important. Now, Mr. Obama, I did not vote for you. Our political beliefs are at opposite ends of the spectrum. That's right, I'm a right-winger. You have a problem with that? I hope not. Because I'm here to address you American to American. Or whatever you are. In any event, I'm going to get right to the point. This country is suffering, Mr. Obama. One of the worst things is this incredible cold wave that has gripped the country and isn't going to let up any time in the foreseeable future. Eventually it will end, that's true. But people I know are suffering. I can barely heat my home. And this is one of the things we need to work on as far as helping people to help themselves. You see, I'm on the internet here to plead that you do something to help people. There are a number of things that we can do in the short term. We can get some heating oil supplies out to the people, heating oil and other supplies that are inexpensive and can help them heat their homes during the emergency. Because this is an emergency. The entire nation, the entire continental United States, is in the grip of a severe cold wave. While your science advisor claims that the Earth is heating up uncontrollably, we're freezing out here. There's no excuse. None whatsoever. So, I wanted to propose that in the short term we get some heating supplies at reasonable prices out to the people. I'd love to be able to buy heating oil actually in my case kerosene at $1 a gallon like I used to be able to do. But since the year 2000 rolled around, it's risen from 99 cents to almost $5 a gallon. Why is that? Well, one thing is that our supplies aren't all that good. We keep buying this foreign oil when we have the capability in this country to power this country, which is what we should be doing, from our coal reserves. And yet your administration has been ruthlessly attacking the coal industry. In fact, you promised you would do that. And yeah, you went through with your promise all right. You see, we can power this country and let that bunch of Middle Eastern thugs drown in their own oil. We have our own coal. And coal is the answer, in my opinion. Coal and hydrofracking. You see, our coal reserves supposedly could last us for centuries. Eventually, we would have the high-tech ability, of course, to replace it. Right now, we don't have anything that can really replace fossil fuels. Fossil fuels provide us infinitely more energy than geothermal, solar, wind, and so forth will ever do. Those can only, the alternative renewable sources at this time can only supply a small fraction of this country's energy needs. Only a small fraction. For example, solar panels have an efficiency of only about 10% when they're brand new. And then that energy has to go through a number of conversions before it's usable house current. So solar cannot provide for our needs. Plus the fact you can't run a gasoline car on solar panels. Obviously not. So why are you attacking the coal industry, Mr. Obama? It just doesn't make any sense. We could power our entire country for several centuries with our coal reserves and let that bunch of thugs over there in the Middle East fight it out. We don't need them. Another thing, like I said, is hydrofracking, which has been proven to be a financial success, at least for the state of Pennsylvania. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that Pennsylvania has found this to be a great boon to their economy. Another thing we can do for the long term is Keystone Pipeline. And yet your administration has been dragging its feet. Well, let's get the Keystone Pipeline built. You know, the environmentalists have said that oil pipelines harm wildlife. Actually, quite the opposite is true. It's been found, for instance, that the pipelines up in Alaska carry heat. And that heat benefits some of the wildlife, especially, if I'm not mistaken, caribou, who have increased their breeding rates because of the warm oil that's flowing through there. It's warm underground, and when they pump it out, it's warm in the pipes. So there are many things that we can do, yet your administration continues to claim that the earth is warming up uncontrollably, and nothing can be further from the truth. It is a fact that lessening ice up in the Arctic, which has since rebounded, by the way, but lessening ice could actually be a sign of cooling. Why? Because that ice is formed when snow falls, and the colder air can't hold as much moisture, and as a result you get less moisture out of it, and hence less ice. It's a simple physical fact. We go through this every year where I live, which is in western New York State. If you deny this fact, then you are in denial of total scientific fact. Now, why am I wearing a coat? It's because my house is cold. I have some wood for heat, but I'm spending the days in 30 and 40 degrees in my house because I can't afford heating oil. And I'm sure many other people are in much worse shape than I am. I can't imagine what it's like for somebody in this horrendous cold wave that we're seeing to live out on the street. I can't imagine what it's like for them. It's horrible. Now, I've estimated in order to ride out this cold wave, if I was to buy kerosene, it would cost me $900 to $1,000. It's not going to happen. I don't have it. So, I wear coats inside and tough it out. But at least I have shelter, whereas many people don't. And I don't think we're getting accurate reporting on the people who are out on the street and dying, probably in droves, because of the cold. I don't believe for an instant that we get accurate reporting from the three major news medias. They seem to be more obsessed with presenting a rosy picture about your administration than they are about presenting the facts. Rush Limbaugh said on his show that CNN is rapidly losing viewers because of their left-wing political agenda. He's right. I agree with Rush. They probably are. We're fed up. Global warming is a myth. We're suffering out here, Mr. Obama, and you're jetting off to Hawaii and other luxurious warm locations for your all too frequent vacations while the people are suffering. Here's another thing, Mr. Obama, that's not being reported correctly. We have 91.8 million people, approximately, who could be working and who are not. That translates, from what I understand, I don't have the exact figures, but it's over 30% unemployment. True unemployment, not what we're being reported to in the media. That, Mr. Obama, is way above depression levels. Things are worse than the so-called Great Depression. But we have a problem. Most people don't understand, and this isn't really taught in schools, that the Great Depression started several years before the stock market crash. It didn't start with the stock market crash. There are a bunch of people who were out of work from mines and other places, and the Roaring '20s simply weren't roaring at all. And this is what worries me. I'm not concerned with the stock market so much, but we are in a depression. And something needs to be done. But your methods are not the correct ones. Wealth redistribution has never been successful, and never will be. Why? Well, it's a simple mathematical fact. You have to produce more wealth and get it into the hands of ordinary citizens. Taking it from other people is just a band-aid fix that won't solve our economic problems. Creation of wealth should be our number one domestic agenda. That way, we enable people to provide for themselves, which is what we need to do. We need these people to be able to provide for themselves instead of depending on government. I really am disappointed in our government the way it is, because our government is much too large. The original idea behind the federal government was a loose confection of bodies where each state would send its representatives, and that representative would stand up for the interests of their state. Representatives and senators. That's not what's happened. They stand up for the federal government, not for the interests of their own state. And that's not right. So, bottom line is, Mr. Obama, people are suffering. What are you doing about it? Are you going to continue flying around the country to exotic, warm locations while we're out here freezing? I hope not, but I don't have any illusions. I doubt that your people will even watch this video. I do know that NSA will be watching, however, and I hope they found it at least entertaining. Because those people, while they're certainly welcome to watch this video, are spying on us domestically. And that's not right. Watch my videos all you want. I put them out in the public arena for you to see. But don't intercept my email and don't intercept my phone calls. Okay, there's one more thing, Mr. Obama. And this is something that I don't back down on. Why do I go by artifacts of Mars? Well, that's not just a name. It's because I've seen items in the Mars Exploration Rover photos and the Mars Science Laboratory photos which are inconsistent with natural objects. I've seen many of them. Many, many, many. And also, I have seen vegetation. So much vegetation that one of the plants I've nicknamed Terra Indico minimus. I said plants. It's a ground cover. And yet NASA continues giving us this boulder dash about a dead, lifeless planet that might have had bacterial life on it at one time. It's a total fiction. Mars is alive, and there may well even be a civilization there. But I know there was a civilization, even if they're not alive today. And the people deserve the truth. They're not being told the truth. And having said that, I'll never back down on what I said there. I back down on individual items, but I don't back down on what I said about Mars having had a civilization and having current vegetation on it. I won't back down, not for anybody. My body may die, but I will never back down. I hope they put that on my tombstone. So, what's it going to be, Mr. Obama? Are you going to do something to alleviate suffering of the people? Or are you just going to continue jetting around the country telling us how warm it is when we're freezing to death? You know what? The homeless just freeze out there and solve that problem. You kind of like the way the farmers like to see it cold for a while so it kills off the insects. Are the homeless nothing more than insects to your administration? I'm thinking so. So this is an appeal to you, Mr. President. Let's get some action. Let's get some help to the people. And let's get some long-term solutions. And I don't mean things like nuclear fusion either. You know, I didn't bring up fusion before. Well, when I was a kid, I was told a practical fusion plant was 50 years away. Guess what? It's still 50 years away. It's not going to happen. No one living today will ever see nuclear fusion as a practical power source. Unless you look up at the sun. Well, that's about it. You have your choice. You can watch people suffer. You can turn your backs on them and fly around the country. If you can find a warm, sunny location, obviously, you know where to find Hawaii and Kenya. Or you can actually do something to help the people in the short term, build some refineries, and put hydrofracking and the Keystone Pipeline on the fast track for the long term, and get us off Middle East oil, and quit attacking the coal industry. The coal industry could power us for centuries, and then we could just let that bunch of camel jockeys over in the Middle East fight it out. I say to hell with them. That's about it. You're going to help us. You're going to build some refineries. You're going to get some fracking going. You're going to get that Keystone Pipeline approved. What's it going to be, Mr. Obama? I'm Artifacts of Mars. Thanks for watching.